Some fasters would say that just means you didn't go long enough. And to them I say, or as my mom would say, phooey.
Well, a warm welcome to you all. This video is about the power of beef. I'm JJ, I'm a life coach, and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric, I'm a novelist, and I eat mostly meat.
It's no secret that you struggle a little with eating meat, eating carnivore sometimes.
Yes, we actually did a whole video about how I don't want to eat beef.
Especially beef.
Steak in particular.
Steak. And it's a challenge to cook then for you. You make your own lunches, but I make dinner, usually. And so sometimes we have pork loin or we throw in some chicken wings, trying to get some variety so that you can be satisfied with that.
And I appreciate it.
One thing we've noticed, though, is it's a very odd thing we would have never expected. Those meals leave us feeling hungry. I swear, at least 2-3 times a week we're going, I cannot believe I just ate half a pork loin and it's an hour later and I'm starving.
The hog log. Yeah, because you used to make those and we would eat part of it, but we'd have sweet potato with it or something
Usually
like that.
a sweet potato with pork,
But now it's just eating that, and yeah, you're right. It could be an hour or two later, you're like, I feel like maybe I didn't get enough in, even though when I was done eating it, I couldn't eat more.
Right.
I was comfortably stuffed. Is it because it's pork and not beef, or is it just that it's not fatty enough?
Now, you usually do sort of a fat bomb type thing, drink, after dinner, don't you?
Well, when it was colder, but now that we're in the warmer season, I don't really want my hot chocolate element with butter in it because it's sort of hot.
This has happened after Buffalo Wild Wings, too.
Yeah, but the wings don't have fat on them.
They don't have fat. We get the like 30 wings. We eat them. We are like, oh my gosh, I can't eat another bite. And then on the way home,
like,
and the ride's like 40 minutes, we're both looking at each other going,
the wings are gone. They flew the coop. But then, if I've like not had beef for a day or two, and then I sit down and I have a hamburger patty, even if I'm not like relishing its flavor, there's something that happens when it gets into the body where my body just is like, yes, that is what I wanted, and then I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
If I eat enough of it.
Yeah. Now, this just happened, too. You had to fast. I fasted as well for your procedure, which we can talk about if you want to, or not. And then coming off of it, we were gone yesterday. So eating on the road, I had chicken breast. And I told you last night, I said, I'm having a steak for dinner. You're on your own.
No, but I had a hamburger patty.
But yeah, you were like, no, I want a hamburger patty.
Yeah, I needed it.
Because it had been a few days since we'd both had any
like
good beef or good fat.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so I did make your hamburger patty.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah, along with my beef.
And it was good.
It was so good.
I could have had 2 of them.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
I didn't know. I wasn't hungry going into it because I still had a little bit of sort of leftover discomfort from my colonoscopy, which was all clear. And so that was good.
It was awesome.
I've been given 7-year interval for the next one.
Yay.
So I'm pleased about that. But yeah, the fasting, and they told me I could have popsicles and Jell-O leading up to it. I had no food.
That was pretty amazing to me.
That I fasted?
That you did not go for the Jell-O or the popsicles.
Yeah, well, I just felt like the whole point was to clean me out. Why put anything in?
Yeah.
Just make it easier on myself.
Yeah.
Although I was never not hungry that entire time. I was like physically in pain with hunger pangs constantly.
Yeah.
So I am not adapted to the fasting way of life at all. I suppose I could be if I chose to really pursue it, but
It's not anything you've really ever been interested in,
no, because I'm hungry.
which is fine.
I don't get that thing where I don't have an appetite. I get that thing where I feel like there's talons digging into my abdomen because my stomach is cramping so hard. But I suppose that would pass if I went long enough. Now, the time I did a 5-day fast, this was way before carnivore. It never went away. That gut pain never ceased during that entire water fast.
I was going to ask if that was a water fast.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
So some fasters would say that just means you didn't go long enough. And to them I say, or as my mom would say, phooey.
Now, I thought you were, I was going to say crazy for doing the water fast back then. That's a little strong.
Well, I was listening to Dr. Attia and Rhonda Patrick and Fung,
Yep.
because he's big on the fasting. So I thought I was going to heal all of my illnesses with it.
Yeah. So let me rephrase. It was inconceivable to me. So not crazy. Like I understood the underlying purpose for it. And were we doing the Prolon at that point, or was that before Prolon?
It was before Prolon.
Okay. But I could not fathom doing it myself. And I still have only, my longest fast is like 40 some hours, not quite 48. So I still couldn't imagine doing 5 days. But I can say I feel pretty darn good in that 40-hour period. So I can kind of see.
Well, it was billed as this thing is once you get past the 36, 48 hours, you'll get this second wind and the ketones will deepen and you'll really get, you won't be hungry and you'll have energy. And it was just misery the whole time. And then I tried another 5-day fast, but I think I only made it like 4 because it was the same thing.
That sounds right. Yes, I think so.
But I don't know if this really relates. I do know that the people who are really into the long fast have their snake juice recipe, which is a ton of salt and maybe lemon or something. I don't know what's in it. But it's to get you a bunch of salt and electrolytes to try to sustain the fasting without the misery. And I didn't do that because I was really nervous about consuming so much salt.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I probably did it wrong.
I always refeed, though, when I do my longer fasts, which again, 42, 44 hours, somewhere in there. I actually make it a point to try to get 2.5 meals the next day. And I try to get in that beef and that fat that next day. It's really...
And I bet it's really good, too.
Yes.
When you have that steak, it's like just with the body order.
Oh, my gosh, it is so good.
Even with the nasty blue cheese crumbles.
See, yeah, even with the blue cheese crumbles.
Our taste buds are not particularly compatible.
And never have been.
No, she likes strawberries. I think they taste like poison. You like blue cheese. I think it tastes like poison. My daughter likes feta. She's your daughter too.
Your daughter.
It depends on what she's done, whose daughter she is.
No, she is the pickiest eater, but she likes some of the most funkiest cheese you can imagine, which seems strange to me.
Yeah.
But it is a mixture of us.
Yeah.
Picky, funky.
But she also kind of likes broccoli.
Yeah.
She doesn't go out of her way to eat it, but when it's available, she'll eat it.
And always has.
Yeah. So maybe her sense of bitter is not the way mine is.
Yeah.
I had that 23andMe, and I had some third-party analysis done of my DNA, of the SNPs. And one of the things that came up was a sensitivity to bitter in greens. What are those, Brussels sprouts? When you eat one, you can tell that they're just trying to kill you.
Now, I grew to like Brussels sprouts, but I would sort of shave them, bacon grease, salt, and then brown them in the oven so they'd get like almost a crispy type thing. It wasn't like biting into the head of
I
cabbage.
remember how you made them.
Yeah. So strangely, I learned to like those, but honestly, being off plants, it's not like that's a food that I greatly miss.
Oh man, I wish I could have some Brussels sprouts.
No.
I would rather have the 5-day fast pain than eat those. Those are horrible. But the point is, different people with different genetics have different palates and ability to withstand certain types of flavors.
I had that bitter thing though too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said that that's why I didn't like broccoli or kale or any of that stuff. Was my
Yeah.
theory.
But you also didn't like beef.
I was just talking about this. When I was pregnant, I still was not eating much meat at all, and certainly not beef, but I craved McDonald's double cheeseburgers, which was very odd. Because at that time, I'd have a hamburger like twice a year,
Yeah.
once or twice a year. It was usually a Big Mac or a Whopper, because I was actually craving that flavor profile, not the beef.
Not the beef. Yeah, the beef was hidden.
Yeah, the
in
beef
those.
was hidden. I just had a double cheeseburger about 2 weeks ago, no bun, and it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I was in a rush. I did the McDonald's order ahead on the app, got a couple double cheeseburgers. It was good.
I didn't like beef as a kid either because of the texture, and because, as we've documented here, to my mother's shame, she overcooked all meat. I suspected that was one of the reasons I didn't like beef, but when I was adult and going on business trips and stuff, it'd be very frequent. We'd go out with customers to like a steakhouse, and so I'd have like Ruth's Chris steak, and I learned to really love it.
Do you remember, of course you do, the sales guy that we all thought was crazy because he pretty much lived on steak and milk, wasn't it?
Yes. Well,
The second.
the second one?
Yeah.
Oh, because there was another guy who he always got his steak butterflied and very well done.
Mm-hmm.
And he would tell the waiter, "No, I mean well done." And so there was no pink. And he ate it like that. To this day, it kind of gives me a little bit of trauma to think of what he did to those beautiful steaks.
Yeah, the
It shouldn't be allowed. There is a thing in the carnivore world, maybe it's just a few of the accounts that I follow who show their cooked steaks. They go a little too rare
Yeah.
for my tastes. They're free to do whatever they want. And I was really indoctrinated into the rare steak. Most restaurants kind of won't do a rare. They'll do a medium rare out of caution for their own sake. But so I was making very rare steaks, and more recently, by overcooking them slightly, not overcooking them, getting them closer to medium, I found that I kind of like that better.
The rare steak, I'm afraid of the texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I'm such a lazy cook, often my hamburger patty will be kind of raw in the center, and I eat it. I've had no ill effects so far, but I will say that I do get a sense that the rarer steak is even more absorbable by the body. I mean, it's totally a subjective, woo-woo kind of interpretation of how I feel, but it's how I feel.
There is less processing.
I don't like eating it as well, but
You gag it down anyway.
I had a, how do I want to phrase this? I knew a person who liked cannibal burgers, which was just raw beef, basically, seasoned
Yeah.
and I remember going, that is an unfortunate name for that. Because that doesn't sound good to me. Cannibal has a very specific definition, and it doesn't involve eating beef unless you're a cow. But yeah, just going pure raw on the beef is hard. Steak tartare.
I had that in France once
Yeah.
on accident. I didn't really know what I was ordering because I did not eat meat much back then. That whole trip to France, I was so bummed out because mostly what they serve is like a little plate with your meat, your potato, your veg, or salad. And I was like, oh, not more meat. Oh.
Give me some bread.
Oh my gosh. And I've often thought that now, going back to France, it would be so easy to eat. And a pan sauce, hello, no gluten there. But I accidentally ordered it. I did get it down. I remember thinking that it was not that bad. I was able to get it down. But I think it was drizzled with something, maybe some olive oil, or I don't know. I feel like there was something on the plate that I could kind of slick it up.
Slick it up, so get it down. Did I ever tell you about when in Japan, we went to this business dinner. The sales guy I was traveling with, we were at this restaurant and he leaned over to me. He's like, "Do not eat that." And I'm like, because I was a picky eater, but I was trying to be polite because I was kind of a guest. And I kind of gave him this look. He's like, "Raw chicken."
Oh.
And to this day, I don't know if he was pulling my leg because I'm like, it didn't look raw on the outside because he indicated it was sort of seared. But our host was talking about how it was such a delicacy. And I opted not to do that because the last thing I wanted to do was to get botulism.
In Japan.
It's probably safer to get it there than some other places I was at.
Yeah, that's true.
But I was already so stuffed because it seemed like all we did was eat. Eat, 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 eat. It's a restaurant where you take thin slices of raw meat and swish it through the hot.
I know what it's called.
What's it called?
Shabu shabu.
Shabu shabu. I remember when I left, I was so stuffed, I was about 80% sure I was going to throw up on the walk back to the hotel. There was a lot of people smoking along on the sidewalk. And for some reason, if I could get into a cloud of smoke and inhale a little bit of the side stream smoke, it would calm my stomach for about 20 yards.
You didn't tell me that
Yeah.
part. That's funny.
Maybe it was like a aromatherapy kind of thing of where it distracted the digestive system with a smell that it didn't expect. And it was almost like a video game of where I kept moving along the sidewalk to try to get close to the guy that was smoking so I could get a whiff. And I got back to the hotel and I got into my room and I just laid down with my hands lightly on my stomach and said, "I am never eating again." Fortunately, I was still in my late 20s, and so my digestion wasn't ruined yet, and it was able to kind of catch up. Whereas if I had done that now, it would have taken me 3 or 4 days
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
to recover from it. I should have just allowed myself a pity puke, but I was so afraid of throwing up back then that I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I have a war with that. Good grief. What a ridiculous topic to bring up. Hey, you're welcome, YouTube. I think the last night we were there, we went out for Italian. And ate spaghetti with chopsticks, which was fun. And it's actually much more sensible to eat spaghetti with chopsticks than a fork.
I suppose noodles.
Of course, when we first started dating, one of the first places we went was the local Italian place. And she was so horrified because I grew up with barbarians who cut their spaghetti into small pieces and then ate it with a fork as if it was some sort of casserole. We didn't know how to do the twist your fork thing into a spoon and shove it in your mouth. And so, I mean, I desecrated a pile of spaghetti right in front of her.
It was crazy.
And she stayed with me anyway.
I did. And when you're a kid, that's part of the fun of it too, I think.
What, the long noodles?
Yeah, not chopping it up into...
Yeah, but you have to slurp those up. And in my house, slurping of any kind was a capital offense. So it's not going to be any eating of foods that are slurpy.
But you don't have to slurp. I mean, if you twist it, you don't have to slurp it.
But you might get that one dangling
you may
one
get that.
that you then have to... I wonder if we have any Japanese friends who are carnivore.
Oh.
I mean, obviously there's got to be some. I just saw an amazing video that there's some sort of like subculture, which is common, I guess, in Japan, all kinds of subcultures, but they wear like 50s greaser hairdos and jean jackets and boots, and they meet in a park and twist.
Yeah.
Do the twist.
Yeah, you showed me that video.
And there's some have been doing it for decades.
So now we're eating this crazy diet, or at least a diet that our younger selves would have thought was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And just surprised by this twist that I want beef. I want the fat. And I don't feel satiated without it. I can't go too long without having some really nutrient-dense food. And who would have thought it was nutrient-dense back then? Who'd ever heard of that?
Yeah, it was, well, if you heard of it, it was in the context of vegetables.
Right, not about meat.
Yeah.
Not about meat at all.
Because you wouldn't want to consume empty calories.
So yeah, it's really one of the most surprising things to me.
Show them your chest. Show them.
I don't wear t-shirts a whole lot. I really felt the need to get some carnivore shirts that really put it out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is my meat-based shirt, and I also have a Healing Humanity shirt.
Eyes up here. Keep your eyes off my meat-based.
So yeah, I'm just curious if anyone will ask me questions, but I need to be ready to answer them,
Yeah.
unlike how I usually am.